happen. If the infrastructure bill does actually play itself out.
It's law now.
It's law. That means there's going to be great numbers of opportunities for large contracts. And so we're telling our businesses, go find out where the dollars are being spent and let's start those businesses. Let's be forward thinking.
The energy sector.
Energy sector is great. Technology is great. Biopharmaceuticals is always going to be there, as well as just e-commerce opportunities. And so for us, we're telling our businesses, think outside the box, but think large. Let's get out of the mindset of let's create another small business. So often when you talk about minority firms, they put us in the bucket of small businesses. Nothing against the Small Business Administration, but all of our businesses aren't small. I also want to say certification is extremely important. We're talking about through the SBA, what's going on with the public sector, but the private sector is also a huge component and a huge spender. And so we're asking now that we've seen the federal government display their numbers, we're wanting the private sector to do the same thing. So we're going to our large companies and saying, what is your spend with black firms? And when we start to see those numbers to also be shared with the public, you would be surprised now when black people could say, that's not only a good product, but they also have a good mission of making sure that they're supporting our businesses as well as our communities. And so I think generational wealth is being created through both the private sector as well as the public sector going forward.
Man, how many brothers and sisters know this opportunity? Know these opportunities out there?
That's a great question. And I was talking to some of your staff before we got on, and I say the SBA has great programs. As a former business owner, I know the resources that they have. The challenge is really getting that information out to the business owners across the country. And so last year, they created a program called the Navigator, the Small Business Administration's Navigator program, which really allows now the 5 organizations, including the National Urban League and the U.S. Black Chamber, to go to our businesses across the country that may not necessarily have a relationship with the SBA and tell them, here are the resources, here are the opportunities, here's the information that you don't know. Last year, as I was stating, 41% of our businesses went out of business. And when we surveyed them, 70% said the reason that they went out of business was lack of information. It wasn't lack of acumen, it wasn't even necessarily lack of capital, but they just didn't know what they didn't know. And so the SBA Navigator program is really developed and designed to be able to allow organizations like the U.S. Black Chamber to go out and reach and touch those business owners that normally don't have a relationship with the SBA office in their local communities and tell them, here's what you need to know to be successful long term, not just getting through difficult times like the pandemic, but if we're really going to create businesses that have sustainability and have the ability to be able to hire and continue to grow, we've got to inform them on relationships, access to capital, contracting, and entrepreneurial development. That's how we change what's going on at the SBA to benefit our businesses and ultimately our communities.
Let me ask you this, BB. What is your message to young people? Are there increasing entrepreneurial opportunities in America today?
Definitely. We have seen with the changes over the last 2 years in this country that we're having more of an honest conversation about it. And so the government is going in another direction, and I'm seeing more and more major corporations doing the same. And so for the innovators that we have in among the young generations, this is an opportunity to not only, as they go to school and study engineering, finance, ultimately, or science, and they want to create and invent. Ultimately, how do you bring that out to the market? That's where the federal government can come in and be a part.